Namaste. Welcome to another live Sangha. Today I remembered that it's Sunday, which means it's time to do another ASMR edition of our Sangha. I can't promise it'll be like the ASMR you are familiar with, so it's more of a theme that I try to be as relaxing as possible, affirming, given the same kind of energy. And I hope you feel relaxed and validated while you stay here. You are enough. I'd like to begin our Shravana, our listening section of our live stream, with an invocation to the Gayatri Mantra. You're welcome to listen. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Thank you. I hope that wasn't too dissonant with the background music I've put on, with the intention of creating an atmosphere. I've got a couple things going on. There's some rain, there's some ADHD relief, binaural beats, and then some tingly sound baths happening. I think it creates an atmosphere where you're just surrounded by all these wonderful sounds to feel like you can just dissolve. Namaste, dear Gabriel. Thank you. Welcome. Hello, dear G2 Infinity. You are way on time, and I'm a little late, but that's okay. Being late is probably a good thing on ASMR Sunday, because you can absolutely be allowed to fall asleep. You always are, but you've got extra special privilege to do so now. I'd like to set the intention for the space of being a welcoming one, open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, ethnicity, belief system. Let us find a unity amidst our experience. Radhe Radhe, dear Magdalene. Hello, dear Scott. And I want you to know that regardless of what you're going through in this moment, maybe you're feeling understood or misunderstood. Maybe you're feeling like something that people should be more aware of, and you feel alone in the awareness that you have for something. Know that in due time you will make exactly the change that is right for the people that cross paths with you. And patience is a blessing. It's entirely okay to be exactly where you are in life right now. This universe is a big one, and it's one that definitely you don't have to understand or comprehend to be allowed to be here. There is no cosmic test for you to pass, at least not on any timeline that makes you feel like you should be stressed out right now. All things good that are meant to be take time, and you are one of those things too. You are a good thing in this universe. That means you take time too. Absolutely, dear Ray. I try to evolve in some aspect every day, continue learning, continue growing, up and up. Namaste, dear Grey Gargi. And thank you, dear Babble Fishy, for blessing us with some roses. Counter is still going up for me. I'm not sure how many you sent, but thank you. 14 of them. Got it. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya, dear Mishaps. And I love the greetings that happen between our audience members in chat. So sweet to see you all say hello. I don't have a wind chime in my room right now, dear Gregor G, but I have one in the background audio. But you can imagine that there's one in your room too. And hello, dear David. I hadn't prepared a show and tell that would probably fit well with the ASMR theme. There's a wonderful song selection that I'd love to listen to with you, perhaps next time, submitted by Maitreya. And those songs are a little more upbeat than the relaxed intention of the space today, so I think we'll save them for tomorrow. But this is a reminder for show and tell. If you ever wanted to share something of your own here on this live stream, I hope to make space for that. And you can check out the place where you get to submit audio files, video files, images, PDFs. I'd love to showcase some of your creative talents or something that means something to you, even if it's just a photo of something you found beautiful. So this would be the time where I share that. That place for you to submit stuff is in the link tree in my bio. You'll find it, I'm sure. And hello, dear Ayan Raj. Ram Ram. And thank you, Bobby Subeka, for the Heart Me team bracelet and cheer you up that you sent. Jai Sita Ram. Hello, dear Charlie. I love the love that's sent around here. Now, if you're interested, I would love to read a chapter of our book with you together. Let us read from another section of Hollywood to the Himalayas. Though I love the background sound effects atmosphere we have, I am going to turn them down a little bit so that in the recording of my chapter, those who are listening aren't so confused in the playlist why suddenly there's a whole different sound effects going on in the background of this part, not others. All right. This is chapter 37. May it relax you. This chapter is titled Sannyās. Sanyas. It's a beautiful Sanskrit word that relates to letting go. Taking sannyas is what they call it when, under a guru, you vow to let go of material life and dedicate yourself to the spiritual path. They call it taking sannyas. It literally means renunciation. And then you become a sannyasi, which is a renunciate. So, let's read. This takes place in June 11th in the year 2000. I was not yet born. The moon hung low in the sky, as though perched on the ridge of the Himalayan foothills. Slightly bigger than a half moon, but far from full, She illuminated the morning, into which twilight was now emerging. It was just past 3:30 in the morning. I had been awake all night. That morning, as the sun would begin its ascent over the mountains, I was going to be initiated into Sannyās. Wow! What a special opportunity this chapter will be to understand such a surreal moment in some spiritual seekers' journeys. We listened to another Swami take sannyas under the guidance of his guru in another book that we read, Roar the Ganges. This book actually takes place in a very similar part of India, also in Rishikesh, near the banks of the Ganga, the holy river where many people get initiated into the Hindu monk fold. Is that a word? Monk fold? Monkhood? Anyway, I trust that you know what I mean. So, this is a very private ceremony, and I'm grateful to be able to go through the process with you. I was going to be initiated into sannyas. Layers of false self would be washed off me, and I would emerge from the waters of Ganga as a newborn child from the womb of the mother, untouched, untainted, unafraid. I would emerge as the unclothed fullness and truth of myself, whole, complete, and pure. Divine, a vessel through which God's will would flow unencumbered by ego. I sat on the cool marble steps. The ghat was still mostly empty, but today, being Ganga Dusehra, the day that the goddess Ganga descended from heaven in the form of a river, the crowds would come earlier than usual for a ceremonial bath. For that moment, though, I sat alone, my back against the round pillar at the water's edge, the same spot I'd sat nearly 4 years earlier when Ganga flowed not only beside me, but also from my eyes. That was the moment, if we recall back to near the beginning of this book, where she had her spiritual awakening. And all of this has followed since. It was here that I had come to put my feet in the water that day, that Jim, my past husband, and I had arrived in Rishikesh. It was here, looking out over the river I didn't even know was sacred, that I had the first vision of the divine. It was here I had already been given a new life. Now it would be ceremonially sanctified. I closed my eyes and chanted my mantra in my mind. The only sound was that of the waves of Ganga, rising slowly with the melting glacial snow, breaking on the steps and occasionally splashing over my bare feet. As I sat there, the waves began to flow, not only in front of me, but also through me, crashing on the steps of the marble and on the edges and corners of my being. I could hear and feel the water rushing into my mind, coursing through my thought patterns, loosening my hardened reactions and identities. As wave after wave broke inside me, each carried away a part of my identity, ebbing from the shore of my awareness into Ganga's waters, to be dumped into the ocean past the Bay of Bengal. As I sat, The sloshing and breaking of the waves within me got louder, and I realized that the space had increased. As each wave carried another part of me out to sea, the emptiness inside grew. I sat. The water flowed over my toes, and just as palpably, through my mind and through the container of myself, the gong of the clock tower at 4 o'clock pulled me back to the present moment. Pujya Swami Guru Sharananandji Maharaj, the saint who had inquired how much soup is too much soup, and who had first pronounced me as Bhagavati, told me I could come get him after 4, and we'd go together to Pujya Swamiji, my Guru. I rose, then dropped again back onto the marble steps. Ganga had reached beyond her banks into my chest and pulled my heart. I lay with my face on the wet step and stretched my arms out in front of me, my legs behind. I lay flat on the step, the water seeping through my thin white cotton gown and soaking my face. Just take me into you, I prayed. I am always yours. I stood and wrapped a cotton shawl over my chest and shoulders, covering my now wet white cotton gown, and walked up the steps toward the room in the ashram where Maharaji was staying. He had come especially for my sannyas initiation, graciously. When I told him that I really, really wanted him to be there and to do the rites with Pujya Swamiji. Sannyas is an ordination passed down from guru to disciple. Pujya Swamiji is my guru. But the moment I met Maharaji, my heart leapt out of my chest and threw itself at his feet. He is also my guru, and I wanted to take this step by his hand. As my father Frank had held the back of my first two-wheeled bicycle while I cycled around the lot of a vacant gas station, releasing it only briefly until I was strong and steady, I wanted Maharaji to be there for my sannyas, along with Swamiji, to have them both hold me, carry me, and guide me into this new life. I knocked on the door of Maharaji's room, and his disciple answered. "Wait here," he instructed, and went into the back. I stood, vacillating between breathless excitement and breathful stillness. A minute later, Maharaji appeared, the clank of his thick wooden sandals announcing his presence before I could see him in the darkness. I bowed at his feet, and he said, "Ao Rani, come Queen." In his presence, I felt less a queen than an infant, but by using nicknames like that, Maharaji continually reminds us of who we really are. Not queen of some finite physical kingdom, but queen of the divine. Maharaji continually reminds us of who we really are. Not queen of some finite physical kingdom, but queen of the divine. I think my internet disconnected me for a second. If it's back, I hope to continue where I left off, and I apologize for any discontinuity in our reading. I'm back, okay. I'll just read one sentence back. I bowed at his feet, and he said, "Ao Rani, come Queen." In his presence, I felt less a queen than an infant, but by using nicknames like that, Maharaji continually reminds us of who we really are. Not queen of some finite physical kingdom, but queen of the divine universe. He walked past me regally, and I stood and followed him up the central ashram pathway to the front door of Swamiji's room. The priest was already there, and upon seeing Maharaji arrive, he gently rang Swamiji's bell. Swamiji walked out into the twilight of breaking dawn. I fell to the ground and bowed at his feet. This incredible being had carried me from the life I knew into a new world. By his gentle yet powerful presence, the curtain had dropped on part 1 of my life, and the whole drama, all the actors and the entire script of my first 25 years had faded into darkness. Now, being ordained into sannyas, the curtain rose on my life, part 2. This time, I was to step onto the stage with no costume or script or role, just naked as my only self, as only myself. Swamiji walked out silently. He moves with an unusual grace. I frequently find myself checking the ground to see if his feet are really touching rather than gliding a few inches above the pavement. He and Maharaji bowed lovingly to each other and walked side by side out of the ashram and down the marble steps to the water. Swamiji observed silence 14 hours every day, a practice he began about 20 years ago. Swamiji observed silence 14 hours every day, a practice he began about 20 years ago, for 10 hours daily, because I sleep that long. I imagine Swamiji does not sleep that long. So that morning, like all mornings, he did not speak, and Maharaji led the proceedings. Maharaji and Swamiji sat on the steps at the water's edge. Hold the chain and take a dip, Maharaji instructed. There are thick metal chains a few feet long attached to the bottom step for people to hold on to while they bathe, as the current is so strong. I did as he instructed, holding tightly to the chain, my feet buried into the rocks and sand of the riverbed. I squatted low so the water would rush over my head. However, Ganga wasn't interested in gently washing over my head. The swift current swept my feet out from beneath me, and I had to pull hard on the chain to stand back up. Again, he said as I surfaced. It was an invocation, not a command. Maharaji wasn't simply instructing me to dip in the water. His words, the actions that followed, and the prayers that he and Swamiji chanted silently, their lips moving, were part of an ancient, intricate initiation ritual. I wasn't just dunking my head in a river. I was being ordained. Through the words, the prayers, the chants, and the blessings of these two saints, the goddess Ganga anointed me, purified me, washed over and through me, extricating all that was not conducive to a life of renunciation from the crevices of my being. At times of emergency evacuation, when one is given only a few moments to gather up precious belongings and rush out to escape fire, flood, or storm, one has to decide instinctively what matters most, what's worth holding on to. As Maharaji instructed, again, 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 each time I emerged from the current, the self with which I had always identified, the personality, the identity of whom I thought I was, let out a subtle evacuation call within me. My ego reached out its arms and tried to grab hold of anything it could. Fear, abandonment, abuse, desire, longing. The suction cups of its octopus arms scraped against the inner walls of myself, grasping unsuccessfully for something to hold on to. Again and again, I dipped and let the waters carry me. Again and again, the current pulled me until I was horizontal in the water, arms outstretched toward the waning moon as she dipped behind the mountains, the top of which is the glacier from which Ganga descends onto earth. Again, he said, no longer speaking to me, but incanting the words of an ancient rite. 18 times I dipped in Ganga. 18 times she pulled me until I was bowing, face down in the water, toward her source, toward the womb of the mother. Ao, come here, Maharaji said as I emerged the 18th time. Beto, sit down. I sat on a step just beneath him. His hands was a small bowl of black sesame seeds. With each sankalp, each vow, offer the seeds in your right hand to Ganga. Each phrase I chant is another vow. Vows of renunciation, vows of celibacy, vows of simplicity, vows of non-attachment, vows to live only as an instrument of God. The sesame seeds are the medium of offering and promising. I poured a small number of seeds from the steel bowl into my right hand. In Indian tradition, everything is sacred, or even respectful. Everything, that's true, but everything sacred or even respectful is done with the right hand. The left hand is used to clean oneself after using the toilet. Therefore, regardless of the copious amount of soap and water you may use to wash your hands after the toilet, that hand is considered impure. Whenever taking or offering anything, it is always done with the right hand. Eating, even with the utensil, is done only with the right hand. Religious rites and rituals are always done with the right hand. Maharaji spoke the Sanskrit lines softly. They were not meant for my comprehension. I already knew what I was vowing. They were recited as prayer, as a bridge of sound connecting the three of us on the water's edge to the fullest, highest spirit of the divine. They were a bridge to the source of Shakti, the power with which I would be infused. They were a bridge to God, to whom I was surrendering. Handful by handful, I offered the seeds as Maharaji gently rocked back and forth, eyes closed, chanting. Beside him, Swamiji meditated, eyes sometimes closed, sometimes open, locked with Ganga, the lover and the beloved, swimming in each other's boundless gaze. When the ritual vows finished, Maharaji and Swamiji both rose silently and stepped down to the edge of the water. They took water in their right hands and each chanted silently to himself, holding the water in an outstretched cupped palm. Not a drop of water fell from either of their hands. After a few minutes, they both extended their fingers, tipped their hands, and offered the water back to Ganga. Then, bent down again and took more water, which they poured into their mouths. The third time they bent, took water in their hands, and held it there. "Come here," Maharaji said. I walked toward them as they turned to face the first rays of sun reaching over the Himalayas. I stood before them and brought my hands together in prayer. Maharaji hadn't told me to pray, but as I beheld these two masters' faces lit by the rising sun with Ganga flowing behind them, I could do nothing else. Maharaji chanted in Sanskrit, and they both splashed the water from their cupped hands onto my head. I was still dripping wet from the 18 baths in Ganga, so I was surprised by how strong these drops of water felt. A light spray of water on a soaked head should be barely perceptible, but these drops landed with such force that each of them seemed to pass through my skull, past the sponge-like grey and white matter of my brain, and into the presence of my mind. These drops splashed onto the energy patterns from which my thoughts arose. With each drop, another thought pattern was washed away, like water bombs destroying the enemy's reserve banks. When the spray ceased, I bowed low on the wet marble steps facing my two gurus. Then I sat up and opened my eyes. Looking up at them, Maharaji took Swamiji's hand and placed them on my head, covering them with his own. There are 4 hands on my head. My eyes closed from the weight of the energy. The physical mass of their hands weighed next to nothing, but the energy was so strong. I felt the roof of my skull crumble under the pressure. The energy poured, unencumbered by the bones of my skull, into and through my brain and mind. My thoughts just stopped. I wasn't frozen, or dead, or comatose. I was fully alive, awake and present, but my mind no longer moved, and where frenetic thoughts had previously raced, now there was space. It didn't feel empty. It was a full emptiness, an empty fullness, a spacious vista opening onto the landscape of stillness. I was still, kneeling at their feet. I could hear Ganga flowing and the voices of people beginning to come to the water for their sacred bath. But these sounds did not enter me. I felt like a structure in one of those snow globes I had as a child. The New York skyline, or a house, or a snowman standing still while, with each shake of the dome, snow flurried around it. The building, or snowman, stayed unmoving no matter how hard I shook the globe. Myself felt that stable. The world swirled around me, but nothing budged inside. There was a tight chain, not one I had to hold on to with my hands, but a heavy, steady anchor that seemed to go through the center of myself, from their hands on my head to the waters of Ganga beneath me. The energy flowing downward, the energy rising up, and an axis of still, spacious energy running through the center of myself. Sadhvi Bhagavati, Maharaji pronounced, and then said it again, emphasizing the word Sadhvi to the priest standing beside him. I opened my eyes. I did not realize they had removed their hands from my head, for even with open eyes, even seeing their hands back at their sides, Maharaji's right hand now on Swamiji's left shoulder, I could have sworn their hands were still there. They left an energetic impression on my head that is so strong I still feel its presence today. Swamiji, ever the mother, signaled for the priest to hand me a towel. I forgot that I was dripping wet. Go and change, Maharaji said. I would not wear any clothes I had previously worn again. A new sari, blouse and petticoat with, very thoughtfully, new undergarments were in a bag with the towel. The priest handed me the bag, and I walked toward the private changing area on the hut. As I peeled off my wet long robe and dried my body, my mind remained spacious, opening to vaster and vaster landscapes. The landscapes of my mind were not filled with artistic panoramic vistas. They were just space. It was not an absence of anything. The space itself was a presence, and it got wider and wider. I put on my new clothes, smiling at the embroidery in my new white sari. I had just renounced all attachments to form, all identification with the body, but the sweet woman from Delhi who brought me the new clothes to wear had known it was a special occasion, and so she assumed it deserved a special sari, one with delicate patterning and embroidery. Although sannyasis wear saffron, I continued to wear white. First, Swamiji worried that saffron robes would push my mother over the edge. She said as much. I associate orange only with Swamiji, and I know he doesn't speak to his parents at all. So, in my mind, I associate orange clothes with not speaking to your parents. I think my heart will stop every time I see you in that color. Swamiji had insisted that I get my parents' permission before taking sannyas, regardless of what color I was going to wear. So, on my visit to California, the previous winter, I had sought their blessings. Outwardly, they had seemed fine with the decision. I had been living in India for nearly 3 years then, and they had probably expected some such turn of events. When one is initiated into sannyas, it is considered a new birth. Traditionally, men emerge from Ganga naked like a newborn babe. Prior to the ordination ritual, a soon-to-be sannyasi performs several days of sacred fire ceremonies, including the literal cremation of one's past self. The birth name and all ties to that former self are burned in the sacred fire, and it's understood that the initiate will not be going back in thought or deed. In my case, a few exceptions were made due to my gender and culture. They had me emerge from Ganga still in my clothes and remove them only in the privacy of the changing room. I have also been permitted to share my story, to share my past, in order to inspire and help others, and for people to understand that I am not somehow different or holier or better. So, when I spoke to my parents to get their blessings on my decision, I assured them that I would still be able to be in touch with them, but that I was not permitted to use my birth name anymore. That would be burned in the fire. I was truly taking a new birth. It was okay with them, except the color. Just please don't wear that color, my mom said, or I'll keep dreading the day when you call and say I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I was also not eager to wear orange. Orange is the color of pumpkins, and pumpkins are conspicuous. I believed I blended more into the background in white. It was simple, subtle, and, I thought, unobtrusive. As a foreigner, I already stood out more than I wanted to. To add orange robes would be too much. So, for 10 years, I wore white, believing I blended in inconspicuously. But in April of 2010, a few months shy of the 10-year anniversary of my sannyas, Maharaji and Swamiji gave me saffron robes during the Mahakumbh Mela, after clearing it with my mother, of course, despite the fact that I was by then nearly 40. In the saffron robes, I was too embarrassed to walk outside. I feel like I'm wearing a neon sign, I told Pavani, a close friend. She laughed and said, "Neon sign? Not at all. Now you'll blend in. In white, you stood out." What? I couldn't believe it. Of course, she said, as though it were the most obvious thing in the world. Here in India, everyone wears bright colors. Saffron looks like any other color, so you blend in. White is unusual. You really stood out all those years in white. Now you'll blend in nicely. Thank you for listening. That's the end of the 37th chapter. How lovely is it to go through this journey with dear Sadhviji. So much has happened. And yet, through all this happening with her, we return to the happening that is so simple and always there in the background as the foundation of our life. It is that very background of life we know as God, or spirit, or soul, that which is behind all the drama, holding it up as the firmament. So too, let us take inspiration from this and let go of the things that prevent us from seeing that divine reality amidst all of this whole world. Thank you and namaste. That was a bit of a longer chapter. Still nowhere near as long as regular chapters in books, but longer for this book. So we'll pause our reading there for now. We'll continue next time, and we'll transition from Manana, to Manana. Transition from Shravana to Manana. Thank you. Now my attention has returned back on all of you. Of course, I always keep you in mind while I'm reading, but now I can really read the comments and engage with them. Hello, dear user 364. Hello, everyone that joined. And thank you to those who sent a gift whilst we read, like dear Jill for the pair of baby ghosts, Radhe or Radhe, and dear Dub Darker for your heart me. Thank you. Om Ganganapataye Namaha. And dear John Simon, thank you for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And for your pair of gem bracelets. I'm happy you liked the book, dear Lex. Thank you for asking, dear Simon, or Simon, I should say. I am doing well. My sleep was not as deep as I wish. As such, I am a little sleepy, but that's okay. I look forward to sleep later. Hello, dear Maitreya. You wonder what the question of the day is today? Today I ask of you all, what is the meaning of letting go? And what's an example of something we can let go of for peace? Thank you, dear Lex, and hello, Arya. Hello, dear Phoenix. And thank you, dear Tattva-masi, for the quintet of roses you had sent. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. And dear Kevin Light, thank you for your trio of roses. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Good day, dear Sky Blue. Dear Gregorji, you share that sometimes less sleep can lead to the feeling like you had more rest. Try to aim for increments of an hour and a half to like 6 hours or 7.5. Thank you. Always a good reminder that our brain goes through cycles of the stages of sleep in 90-minute increments. I will keep that in mind. And thank you, dear grateful human, for the hat and mustache that you sent too. Om Dum Dargaye Namaha. Namaste, dear G2 Infinity. Om Kring Kalikaye Namaha. Alright, an answer from dear Bubbles for our question of the day. Letting go of trying to make sense of everything and surrender to the experience from the place of a learner, of a listener. I like that. Thank you, dear Bubbles. And thank you, dear Maitreya, for the rose that you sent. Ram Ram. Dear King Bote, you can tell me if I can pronounce your name in a way that you prefer. You share that a lack of sleep is a good time to test yourself. Our negative patterns are more likely to show up. What a great reminder that is. Thank you for that as well. Dear Maitreya, your answer for letting go is, so be it. And we can let go of our anxieties. So be it. Acknowledging the existence, the way things are. Thank you, dear Kev, for the heart me too. Jaya Sitaram. And Phoenix, which you share, letting go for you means to let it not control you, and for it to just be its own thing. Yeah, I like that. Om Kham Jahnavyai Namaha. Om Kham Jahnavyai Namaha. Very strange. My live stream had disconnected but then shut off just a few moments ago. So I guess that means we'll have to restart the live and hope that our viewers find their way back here. Never happened before, so that's new. Apologies for that. It's alright though. It's a good test of patience and understanding. Yeah, welcome back, dear angel, dear Magdalene. I'm not sure what happened. My live stream just shut off and I had to restart it. And popped up on the screen for me, it said that I couldn't go live, but clearly I am live. Oh well. Things happen. So be it. An example of letting go. Letting go of the expectation that I will even have the ability to go live for anything more than our connection allows us to. But before it disconnected, dear Samra had sent a pair of witchy kitties, so I wanted to thank dear Samra for that. Om Kring Kalikaye Namaha. You feel like a surge happened to your G to infinity. Something must have happened. We let go, that's what happened. That's right, Phoenix Witch. I apologize. Any of the comments that were sent before I had a moment to read them are no longer there, as it cleared the chat for me. So, if you had an answer to the question of the day, which I did not read, please feel free to share it again with me. Yes, I was reading yours, dear angel. Take two. Again. It's quite alright. No biggie. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om. Alright, dear angel, you're right. Still learning how to continue to let go in many ways, but letting go of a thought that has let itself we'll wait for part 2 of this comment. Off to a great start though. Namaste, dear Randall. And thank you, dear John Simon, for the blessing of a finger heart. Om Namah Shivaya. Did the second part come through? I don't think it did, dear angel. Sorry, but I'm happy to hear that there's an acknowledgement of the process of letting go and how it's a continued learning journey. Letting go of thoughts rather than trying to chase it down. I like that. Yeah, letting go of the chase. Hello, dear Crossfires. Thank you, dear Tatvamasi, for another quintet of roses from you. Om Namo Nisargadattaya. And thank you, dear Kev, for the septet of pumpkins, the septet of witchy kitties, and the septet of baby ghosts. Om Param Hanumade Namaha. Dear Anna, you share that you let go of trying to catch butterflies. They are better when you're just watching them from afar. I like that. Catch them with your heart. Throw the net of love around them. And reel in the meaning that they represent for you. And keep that. And thank you, Kev, for your septet of Gimme the Votes too. Hare Krishna. Dear Samurai, you share, you let go of feeling others' emotions and taking responsibility for them, and you can love without fixing them. That's so important. That's the trick of empathy, to feel what others are going through and offering space for them to process that feelings without expectations, without attachment to how they could be any different than the way they are right now. Oh. Dear Angel had asked Anna, have you ever raised caterpillars? What a wholesome question. And Anna replied, yes, but when they die I suffer, so I stopped. What a heart-rending conversation. And 2 comments. My prayers to all those caterpillars that died, not because you weren't a good care provider, but such is life. Angel, you always let yours go when they turn to butterflies. I realize I'm reading a conversation between 2 people, but I think it's such a beautiful conversation. It deserves to be amplified. And thank you, dear Kev, for the horror candles and pumpkin that you send. We got a spooky atmosphere. Halloween is approaching, only in a few days, my goodness. Om Kamalir Mahakalikaye Namaha. Dear Hanan, hello. Can I send you some love, you ask? You really need it? You have so much love in your being. You couldn't possibly need any more. But the need is still there, and that comes from a valid feeling. The feeling of the need to know that you are valid in what you're going through. And I couldn't possibly add any more love to what's already there in the infinite source of love within you. But I can pray that my love resonates with your love, so that the love I share becomes a reflection of all the love shared in your life, Tio. May you know that you are exactly where you're meant to be, and there is meaning in whatever you are going through, and I know you will be able to make something beautiful out of it someday. Dear Tatvamasi, you share we can let go of concepts, their meaning, and ourself as the seeker of that meaning. A wonderful example. What a beautiful affirmation, dear Phoenix, which I honor those parts of myself and I love them to life. You love butterflies, dear angel. I love that you love butterflies. That's me, being in the wind. How beautiful. Is candy sattvic on Halloween? Asks Greg RG. In small quantities, sweet treats can actually be considered sattvic indeed. Yes. Sweetness is considered the flavor of sattva. So, you are certainly allowed some sweetness in your life. But try to aim for some healthy sweetness, the healthiest sweetness that you can. And that means in balance with a diverse diet, you know. Make sure that you're not just eating candy on Halloween, that you're eating other food. And have fun. But if there was a day where you were to be given a bit of a break, Halloween would be one of those days. It's not so serious. Dear G to Infinity, thank you for sharing the possibility of tapping our screen. If your spirit animal is a butterfly, that's cute. Of course. Do be aware that tapping the screen does have an effect on making this live stream more available for others. And so I wouldn't want you tricked into doing something that you didn't consent to do. But if you do feel like this is a live stream that could be that other people could benefit from, then it would make me happy to do so too. Have you liked the background wind, dear Gav? Thank you for sending all the love to us wonderful beings, dear angel. Much love, dear Hannon. Dear Gregor G, you think butterfly wing designs are cool? Me too. And I think it's really interesting how blue butterflies are usually blue, not due to any blue pigment, but due to the way that the light is refracted in the structure of the wings itself. So it almost creates blueness just by refracting the light in a certain way. Dear Star Branch, you always remind yourself to let go of the tension in your neck, jaw, and shoulders. Ah, yes. What a great reminder that is. And I love when our moderators pin the comments. I trust them completely. I can't see what comments are being pinned, but I do see the notification that something was pinned. I like to know that you're looking out for comments that deserve to be seen and recognized. Dear Angel, in your journey you mostly raised monarchs, and you love everyone who supports them and helps restore their population. That's wonderful. You got behind in the convo. That's okay. You are always welcome to share things about your love for butterflies, no matter what time. Everyone is welcome to share something which is important to them, even if the conversation appears to be in another direction. Dear Mina, you share that letting go of the feeling of loneliness is hard. Yeah, absolutely. Dear Julia, you share that making peace with the past is a way of letting go. Definitely. That's a great example. Thank you for that. Me when I see a blue butterfly, shares Anna. I love the emoji usage. It's the those emojis. Hello, dear Shakira. You love octopus, shares Yudakura. I love how much you love animals. our duty. You guys are laughing at my facial expressions. You know, how else can you convey an emoji other than doing the face, right? As humans, we are caretakers of our fellow animals. Humans are blessed with the biggest opportunity to take care of other animals. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kev. You'll try to do an emoji impression now too. It's a fun challenge, you know? It's a game we used to play long ago. When we were children, we would practice our smiley faces, our frowny faces, our angry faces. We had to be taught all those. And hopefully our parents or guardians would mirror our emotions. Very important part of the development of our psychology as children. Yippee! And it goes both ways, doesn't it? That sometimes happiness is the source of your smile. Other times your smile is the source of your happiness. You can smile even when you're having a bad day, but not to hide that you're having a bad day. Smile to begin to bring about a sense of joy within ourselves. Dear Crossfires, you share that your daughter adopted a python snake. It's a baby. Oh, that is so sweet. You know, I once made a presentation on why you should have a snake. I had a friend who wanted to get a pet snake, but their roommate didn't want to have a pet snake, and so I made a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation for their friend, trying to convince them of all the reasons that you should have a pet snake. This is 100% a snake-friendly space. You know, I'm wondering if I can actually find that presentation. I think you all would appreciate watching it. Good evening, dear nobody. Am I a real leprechaun? You know, I once asked my grandmother that, because she was Irish. She is Irish. So I asked her, are you a leprechaun? And she said, yes, I'm a leprechaun. And she took it very seriously. And so I believed that she was a leprechaun. And I still do today. Okay, I found the presentation. I think you all need to see this presentation. This is very important. One moment. This is the presentation that I made my friend Sam for their roommate. This is 9 reasons to let Sam have snake. Presentation by Yam. Number 9. Snake bites? Maybe. A snake only bite if things hand food, but no bite hard. Snake fact. Snakes cannot chew. Number 8. Kill you while asleep? No. Snakes no do that. Snake fact. This snake is named Timothy. Number 7. Venom? Pet snake no have venom. Snake fact. Pet snakes cost less than $50 a month to keep fed and happy. Number 6. Big or small? Small. Snake fact. The world's smallest snake is about the size of a quarter. Number 5. Appearance. Snake more pretty than you. Snake fact. Snake skin is made out of the same stuff as fingernails. Number 4. Intelligence. Snake have small brain. Smooth brain. No winkles. So snake no evil. But snake smart much to love you. Snake fact. Canada has the largest snake gathering in the world. Whatever that means, I don't know. Number 3. Cloud. Have snake equal badass. Snake fact. Snakes cannot play the saxophone. That very well, at least. Number 2. Bad person repellent. Suppose bring person home. Person not nice. Want person leave. Snake. Person leave. Snake fact. Antarctica is the only continent without snakes. Number 1. Friend. Sam need friend. Snake be good friend. Snake fact. Googling woman and snake reveals mostly porn. Don't do that. I forgot about that. I was trying to get an image for that slide. It was challenging. Conclusion? Sam gets snake. Thank you for watching my presentation. So, did they get one? Yes, that's a good question. I don't think they did end up getting a snake, which is sad. Yeah. Unfortunate. But, you know, I tried my best, and that's enough. Bravissimo. Thank you, Orla. This is a snake-inclusive environment. Indeed. Thank you, dear Shakira, for the heart me you sent. Om Ganganapataye Namaha. We can have the question of the day up too if we're still interested in exploring it. Now you're convinced you need a snake friend. Aw. I love that. So if you ever wonder what I get up to in my free time, sometimes it's making very convincing PowerPoint presentations for my friends to get snakes. Less than $50 a month to keep alive. Yes, this is quickly becoming an advertisement for pet snakes. Anyway, it certainly requires much more than $50 to get started, I'm sure. Getting all of the proper tools and foundation of your investment, like having a nice big terrarium, you know. Of course, ideally, most animals should live in nature, so there is an argument to be had of letting those animals be free. But if you are going to have a pet, make sure that they are loved and taken care of. Make sure that they have lots of room, as much as possible, to explore and make a home for themselves. Give them the best life that you can. Good evening, dear Anazak. Dear Rob, you wonder what does Yam mean? Or is that my legal birth name? It is 3/4 of my birth name, Liam. Lyam. So it's a shorthand of my full name. 3/4, 75%, which is a B, isn't it? No, it's an L. Thank you, dear Anazak, for your heartmate. Hariom Tatsat. Tatvamasi, you share for you, it's either divorce or snake. Wow. I think the snake will thank you for making that decision. Hello, dear tiny planet explorer. How is my life going? Me happy? Thank you for asking. Life is a-going, and it has for a long, long time, and it will for a long, long time too. And of the part of it that I get to experience, I'm so lucky and so grateful. And every day that I wake up and I have another day to live is a privilege that I hope to never forget. Thank you for reminding me of my homework, dear Lakonin. I still have to learn the pronunciations of these accented vowels. Snakes have legs? Asks Claudia Sal. They used to, but they fell off in evolution. One of my favorite shows growing up was called Little Bear. I wonder if any of you have watched that show. this little bear, and he was always so curious about the world, and he would always say, interesting. And he had a friend snake, and that snake's name was No Feet. It was a snake with no feet. So his name was No Feet. And I loved that. And thank you, Corsican Ruffian. I hope I can pronounce your name better. Thank you for your pumpkin. Om Kham Jakhnavyai Namaha. Unless Tiny Planet Explorer says the snake is just one large foot. I like that. Or it has infinitely many feet, just so close together that it appears as a smooth surface. That's just like the trinity of a circle. Does a circle have any sides at all? Or does it have one side that goes all the way around? Or does it have infinitely many sides that are so close together it just looks like one continuous surface? So too, in this universe, sometimes it feels like there is no absolute truth. Other times it seems like there is just one. And at other times still it seems like there are infinitely many truths. And these are the most basic numbers: 0, 1, and the infinite. So many questions of philosophy that asks of quantity can be answered in terms of 0, 1, or infinity. Hello, dear, don't worry about it. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your quintet of roses that you sent it to. Never expected, but always appreciated. Om Shri Mahalakshmyai Namaha. And good night, dear angel. Robert had asked if I could recommend a good ASMR to go to bed with. I'm not sure if I remember any off the top of my head, but there was this one ASMR artist that was just so wholesome that I found a few months ago, and I really liked her style. And she doesn't have many videos or followers, and her videos only have a few hundred views, and I feel like the algorithm blessed me. And I believe her channel name is Annie's ASMR. ANNIE''S ASMR. Very wholesome. Oh, my phone is buzzing. Thank you, dear Corsica. Oh my goodness. I really have to learn how to pronounce your name better. You're welcome, dear Robert. It's a good reminder to consider the time as we begin to bring this live stream to a still over the next 20, 30, 40 minutes or so. Hello, dear Mirna. Your answer to our question of the day is that letting go would bring peace of mind. We can let go of expectations and prejudgments for that. Well said. I pronounced it perfectly? Oh, good to know. Corsican. Thank you, dear. I love yourself for the heart me that you sent to. And I hope you remind yourself to bring love to your body and mind. Dum Durgaye Namaha. And dear Julia, thank you for your 1, 2, 3, 4 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you, dear Anna, for the ice cream cone too. Hare Krishna. Some snakes have beards, shares Kev, but no combs. That's true. How could they comb their beard with no hands? I suppose they could use their tail. And I suppose they are just tail. When God was showing all the different body parts that the animals could have to the animal souls, the snake soul looked at the tail and said, "That." And God said, "Anything else?" Snake said, "No." It's true. I was there. In fact, I was the snake soul. We all were. The primordial snake, and the Ouroboros, the beginning and the end. I'm just having some fun. Now we need a snake emoji. That's a great idea. We can choose the snake that's around Shiva's neck. We can have a snake for Kundalini. But I hope you all are as well as you can be in this moment, full of love. And if you're not feeling like that, that's okay. And Lakonen, you share an answer to our question of the day. Letting go, aka accepting realities. I like that. Greg RG, you share, you put a comb in your beard and now it's just there. It's great to have on hand whenever you need it. It's efficient. You've got your own storage space. We could add the Ouroboros itself too. Yeah. Dear Tiny Planet Explorer, you share, imagine what it would be like to be a snake in water. So light, so smooth, so free. Thank you for that thought experiment. I like that. And thank you, Not the Stand User, for your heart me. Ram Ram. There is a snake within all of us. The snake coiled 3.5 times around the base of our spine, known as the energy of the pot, the Kundalini. There we find all of our repressed Shaktis, energies, which we have to use. Our dormant feminine energy, which is actually redundant. Because wherever there is energy, she is. Energy is the nature of the feminine. It's the whole of Mother Universe, Mother Nature. Dear Attica, you share letting go for you is acceptance. Let go of responsibility over what I can't control. You struggle with it a lot. Thank you for being vulnerable, for sharing something that you struggle with, and yet the beautiful truth that you know and are continuing to learn. Dear Kev, you share that you got attacked by a raccoon on Monday. Raccoon, not nice. Oh my goodness. You got a black eye. Wow. Now you look like a raccoon. Did you get beat up or did you get ordained? You got initiated into raccoondom. I've met a lot of raccoons. They're an interesting bunch. I have a lot of love for them, but they can be feisty. That's for sure. May you heal soon. And dear Mirna, what is the snake and spine story? When we talk of opening our chakras, the energetic points in the tantric tradition of the East, energy centers that exist along the spine. The serpent has always been a metaphor for the energy that coils around the spine and rises higher and higher. And it's the symbol of medicine today, although I imagine that not many doctors probably know the spiritual connotation of that symbol. The staff of Hermes. There's even, it's actually a universal symbol. You can find it referenced in the Bible when the Pharaoh's magicians throw down their rods and it becomes snakes, and it coils up around Aaron's rod, I believe, before Moses. That represents the two nadis, the Ida and Pingala nadi, which represent the sun and moon as they spiral around our spine. And Aaron's rod at the center represents the spine itself. And every time Ida and Pingala cross, there is a junction point of energy, and we call that junction point a chakra, which means a wheel of energy. It's where we get the name for cycles and circles from the name chakra. Kundalini refers to that energy which rises, and each energy point represents a various stage in our journey of awakening, of rising in consciousness higher and higher. Oh, did I get my rods of the Bible wrong? Thank you, dear Gregor. Aaron had the rod that became flowers. Not saying snakes couldn't twirl around, just saying it could sprout flowers. Yeah, I think it was in front of Moses. It must have been Moses's staff then. But there's many names for it. Staff of Hermes, staff of Moses. There's another staff in the Bible. I don't know if is it the same of Aaron? That it was taken off of the tree that was at the crucifixion site of Jesus. The same tree that was used to make the crown of thorns. And off that same tree, a branch was taken to serve as a walking stick from the person who laid Jesus to rest in his tomb, the body of Jesus. And he kept that staff for many years. I think his name was actually Joseph of Arimathea. And one day, while he was preaching, he stuck his staff in the ground and went to bed. And when he woke up, he found that the staff had sprouted. And so it became a tree, and it rooted, and that tree, that the staff had sprouted. And so it became a tree, and it rooted, and that tree turns. I think my internet disconnected me for a second again. Do let me know when my connection has returned. Good. So someone from the island that I live on was obsessed with sacred artifacts, and she traveled all around the world trying to find things like the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant and that tree that was said to have sprouted from Joseph's staff 2,000 years ago. And she didn't end up finding the Holy Grail. She didn't find the Ark of the Covenant, but she found the tree. And she took a branch from that tree and planted it on the island that I live. And this was actually how I found out about this story, is I was on my university campus having a burger, having a nice veggie burger, and I was just sitting over the railing. All the other seats were taken, and so I was sitting on the railing. And you wouldn't see this unless you looked over the railing as I was sitting. And there was this very old, rustic-looking sign next to the tree. And I was wondering, what's on that sign? And so I climbed over the railing and I read, it said, "This sprouted from the staff of Joseph of Arimathea, the holy tree of Canterbury," or something, 70 AD. And I looked up the story and I was like, wow, we've got one of the holiest trees in the world just next to the food court at my university. Why is it here, I wonder? And it turned out that her art collection had been donated here along with that tree. So many, many university students eat their lunch by the tree of the crown of thorns without knowing it. And indeed, that tree does have thorns on it in the same kind of way that you'd expect the depictions of Jesus to look like. There are sacred things all around us. We just have to be willing to look in places that people don't expect. Now, every time I walk past that tree, I cross my fingers that a branch has fallen so that I can make a staff out of it too. Every time a storm happens, I think about that tree. I think about if a branch had fallen yet. I wouldn't break one off myself. I'd wait for it to naturally fall. But I did find a little stick that fell off of it, and I considered it a magic wand, and I gave that to someone, and they were interested in magic and the Bible and things like that. So I gave him my wand from the tree of the crown of thorns. I see you changed your name. Thank you, dear. Maid Jartai Handa. Maid Jartai Handa. If I can pronounce your name any better, please let me know. Good morning. Now, I would like to begin to wrap up our Sangha today. So thank you all for participating. But before we go, I would like to end with some nididhyasana, a meditation. If you're interested in participating. Radhe Radhe, dear Hari. So, on the topic of letting go, I thought that we'd base our meditation around that to end our live stream. I'd like to do an improvised guided meditation on letting go. So if you'd like to join, stay for the next 5-10 minutes or so. I'd like to do a very simple introspection of things that we can clear out within our minds. You may sit in a meditative position that is comfortable for you without falling asleep. Bringing attention to the meditation. Everything starts with our breath. We'll take 3 conscious breaths together. It doesn't have to be at the exact same time, but we'll start. One. 2. 3. Feel free to move. Don't feel like you have to. Stay perfectly still. If you want to fidget with something, if you need to wiggle your toes, stretch at any time, that's perfectly okay. Now, we've talked a lot about letting go today. As today, for the question of the day, I asked about its nature, and I'm so grateful to have received so many wonderful answers on it. So I thank all of those who are inherently contributing to this meditation, infusing all the insights that you've shared. May we all benefit from that. Letting go is a kind of acceptance. Letting go might give the connotation that you're removing something, that you're taking something and throwing it away. And there's beautiful symbolism in that, but it doesn't always have to be so separative. As letting go doesn't change anything about our circumstance, it changes everything on the inside, how we're feeling about our circumstance. Letting go is a kind of recalibrating of what we really do have power over and what really doesn't have power over us. Letting go is finding out about what we can't control and what we can. So, consider anything in your life that you feel has been challenging for you. Maybe it's some thought that just won't seem to leave you. That thought could be in the form of a fear of losing someone important to you. It could be a fear of not being enough. It could be a fear that you won't be able to find your way. That thought could be in the form of something that someone else said to you. It could be in the thought of an expectation to achieve something great, but you feel guilty for not doing so. It could be in the form of something kind that someone did for you, but you worry about being able to repay them. The thought could be something negative that something said about you. It could be a memory of a time in which things felt wonderful, but now we don't feel things are so wonderful. A memory that won't seem to leave us, that's very challenging to process, of a time that was very painful. Or it could be a memory of something random that just keeps coming back and it's driving you crazy for no good reason. Whatever it is, I'd like for you to just pick one thing that you're going to practice letting go without any expectation. But before that, maybe we should explore within ourselves why one would let go and what that really means. Letting go is to free yourself of any burden that's preventing you from being full and whole, or more accurately, preventing you from making that realization that you are already whole and full now. That's perhaps the biggest secret on the self-improvement journey, is that there is nothing to improve at the level of your true self. See, your true self is whole, and that is now a reality already. This journey of improvement is really just improving our ability to recognize that, to express that, and to act on behalf of that, rather than to change anything a part of ourselves or to remove limitations. So letting go is not about becoming better. It's about dropping the feeling that you are not. A wise man once said, "The greatest sin is to think that you are a sinner, because the moment that you attach yourself to a limitation, that becomes your destiny. Conversely, the greatest virtue is to know that inside you there is virtue. But it requires effort and consistency to bring out. Letting go does not mean becoming less of a sinner or more virtuous, because your true nature is already the same, unchanging, a beautiful possibility. It's really just, and I emphasize this deeply, our expectations alone. And even then, for many of those are natural. It's an attachment to an outcome more than another. In the holy Bhagavad Gita, the song sung from a form of the divine called Sri Krishna to a devotee known as Arjuna, Arjuna asks Sri Krishna, what exactly do I have to let go of? What is there to truly renounce? And Lord Krishna says, all you have to let go of is just your attachment to one outcome more than another, and instead have trust that everything good is possible in your ability to make use of what you've been dealt. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but the essence is the same. That your happiness is not determined by circumstance, but by how you are able to put trust in yourself, faith in yourself, to make use of this circumstance for something greater. No matter what that thought, that memory, that attachment or expectation is, the only thing to let go of is for yourself to be in a different position than the one you are in now. We cannot change the past, and the future has yet to arrive. Our whole existence truly takes place now. For goodness to come of this moment, it must come from something that we can do here and now. So all that which is not part of this moment, we have to let go of. With that in mind, I'd like for you to visualize this as you continue to breathe consciously. Fill with your spiritual breath the space that you are, and in it contain everything you feel is no longer serving the highest potential. Just embrace them. And as you would voluntarily tense a muscle so tightly in order to make the release that much more stark, so too, let us imagine holding tightly with all of our energy, all of those parts we have to let go of, squeezing them, holding them, embracing them, taking everything that we can possibly learn from them, leaving no goodness behind, permeating those thoughts, those words, those memories, the past, ideas of the future. Fill yourself up with those things, and then begin the process of dissolving them. Ignite the sacred fire of your heart, illuminating the space, bringing warmth to these things, and watching them as they turn a shade of glowing ember themselves, and scattering in ash as they become the fertilizer for the next generation of thoughts, ideas, memories, and beliefs for you to grow out of. Just like you would imagine lighting a match and throwing it into a pile of dry leaves, imagine throwing your bomb of love into the middle of the sea of these flammable memories, and making them all alight, not in destruction, not in anger, not in resentment, but out of a purificatory essence of harmony, to take the things that have served us in some way and begin to take them apart as Mother Nature does in her fleet of decomposers, to transform into newer and newer life. It's not about removing anything or leaving anything behind, but to transmute and transform, to alchemize what has been into what will be. To let go is to behold the future. To embrace the past and accept the present. A great yogi once said, to meditate is to imagine that you are on fire, that you are ecstatically, joyfully, euphorically on fire, that you feel flames wrap around your head and dance on your hair. You imagine yourself engulfed in such light that you are in the heart of the thermonuclear fusion. In every star, become that burning ball which fuses together the old to create the new. Let go, relax, be affirmed. You're enough. You have been, you will be, you already were, always will be. Everything that does not teach you of your eternal nature is a lesson that you have already learned from, and it's time to transform. Never even let a single limiting idea prevent you from the joy that you are destined for. All this pain, all this loss, all these feelings of being abandoned, misunderstood, the time for them is no longer. We embrace them as aspects of our journey that deepened our empathy, now that we know what it feels like to be lost, forgotten, alone. So we shall never let anyone else that comes into our life feel like that. Let us transform our feeling of being a victim of life's circumstance to being someone who has been blessed with the ability to understand what it's like for others to go through similar things, so that we may be empowered to give back in the form of love to all those that grace us with the opportunity to love. Let go, let go, totally let go, totally, completely let go. You are safe. You do not need to hold yourself together. That's what your skin is for. You are not going to burst into a million pieces. You are already being held together by your skin, held up by the ground before you, and connected by the all-pervasive divine love. Feel into the recesses of your being, where there is room to make more beauty. Let go, let go, let go. And take with me now, in your own time, 3 conscious breaths to solidify this landmark occasion in your spiritual journey. One breath to let go of all that has haunted us in the past. One to let go of any expectations for the future, knowing that all goodness that is made possible will come with due effort. And one breath to let go of any resistance for the present moment. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Thank you for listening. And I hope that meditation was helpful. You are all such lovely beings. It's time that you treat yourself like you are. Thank you, dear little moonbeam, with the rose that you sent. My apologies, it was a heart me that you sent, equally as beautiful. Thank you for that heart me. Radhe, Radhe. Starlight Wow, thank you for your flowers. Hari Om Tat Sat. Habibi, I love that name. Thank you, dear Mirna. You are all Habibis. What's the plural of Habibi, I wonder? I'm happy to hear that, dear Kev. Dear Anazak, thank you for your finger heart. Om Kham Jahnavyay Namaha. And dear Dobdarkar, thank you for your heart me. Om Tham Namaschanduraya. And thank you, Tatmamasi, for your trio of roses. Om Nisargadattaya Namaha. Habibis would work well. Oh, how lovely is that with a Z? As we say in Canada, or a Z, as you may say elsewhere. Thank you all for being here. I will retire now. I've been working on a project, and I must confess that it has taken some of my time from doing an earlier live stream. But the project is ultimately, in general, for you and everyone. As some of you know, I've been reading the Kāmikāgama, and I've been scouring the internet for resources on this ancient text. And as far as I can tell, there is only 3 PDFs available on the whole of the internet for it. One is in Tamil, and the photocopy is of a terrible quality. Another is in Devanagari, a font, a script for Sanskrit without any English translation. And there is an English translation, but it's not a very good one. I shouldn't say that. I should say there's just room for improvement. And I've noticed there's many mistakes that can be remedied. So, I've been working on my own translation, powered by the advent of AI and resources and modern dictionaries. And that has been taking up a lot of my time. So I would like to create a version of this Agama. It's very long. It's thousands and thousands of verses. So it may take several weeks or months, but I am dedicated to it. I believe that our spiritual scriptures should be preserved, and given my programming abilities, and it requires a lot of programming to decipher the encoding of these PDFs to get the original Sanskrit, then I'm happy to do what I can to help preserve these ancient and beautiful texts. That's right, Tattvamasi, the same one that we've been exploring in our sanghas. Are we talking about the Siddhi Agama? No, that's the one I gave you the homework to try to find a reference to. I was talking about the Kāmikāgama. Alright. If any part of this live stream was helpful for you, if ever you wanted to go back on any part, I upload the recording to my Yamsox lives usually, but today was ASMR Sunday, so I'm going to upload this one to my Yamsox ASMR YouTube channel. The name of that YouTube channel is Yamsox, YAMSOX, ASMR hyphen spiritual ASMR. And it's also linked in the link tree in my bio. And today I finally edited and rendered the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita ASMR style. So if you want to listen to a whispered version of that holy scripture, the 14th chapter, all about the 3 gunas, the 3 qualities that pervade the 5 elements of tamas, rajas, and sattva, that every spiritual practitioner should know, then please check that out. I'll be uploading it tonight along with the recording of this live stream and the clips of my meditation and reading, which will go on dedicated playlists on the Yamsox Lives YouTube channel. Thank you, dear Melinda, for the rose that you sent. Om Brahmavaya Namo Namaha. So may this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to deathlessness. Om, may there be peace in our environment, may there be peace within ourselves, and may there be peace in the forces that compel us. And I echo that sentiment that dear Greg R.G. shares. Hope you guys either sleep well or have a fun day. Well, actually both, whichever comes first. Thank you, Mr. Mystic 108, for your heart me. Om Namah Shivaya. And dear Anazak, thank you for your kundat of roses too. Hare Krishna. May you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, your evening, your morning or night. Regardless, may you have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Namaste.